our website at www.grts.gm. We'll be back with more stories after this break.
There are many property companies out there, so making a choice can sometimes be difficult. This is why you should rely on a professional and experienced player in the market. Let me introduce you to Universal Properties. Universal Properties. Universal Properties. Universal Properties are one of the oldest and the most reliable property company in the Gambia. Universal Properties, we have 3 great locations to offer: Lamin, Brufut, and also on the Sukuta Airport Highway. In Lamin, we have 25 by 20 with inner roads, electricity, water, and some residents are already in place. We are greatly located in Brufut and very well accessible. The place you would want to build your dream home. Universal Properties. Universal Properties. And in Sukuta Airport Highway, you can have easy access to the airport, roads, and all amenities. We are located on number 2 Karava Avenue FIB House on the 2nd floor. Call us on 788-8888, 618-8888, or 996-5204, or www.universalproperties.org. Universal Properties. In God we trust. In God we trust.
Welcome back. The U.S. ambassador in Libya is among 4 Americans confirmed dead after rioters in Libya's second biggest city, Benghazi, attacked the U.S. diplomatic mission. Protesters attacked U.S. diplomatic compounds in both Libya and Egypt. It is believed both groups were angered by a film made in the United States that they consider to be anti-Islamic. The White House says it is outraged by the killings of its diplomats in Libya. We have details in this report.
Armed gunmen attacked the American embassy in the Libyan city of Benghazi on Tuesday in protest over an American film entitled The Innocence of Muslims, which was broadcast on YouTube. 4 American officials were killed in the attack, including the United States ambassador to Libya, Christopher Stevens. The film, which was produced by an Israeli-American, describes Islam like a cancer and depicts the Prophet Muhammad as being obsessed with sex. The Libyan authorities have offered their apologies for the incident. The United States has condemned the attack, but has confirmed that it would not have an impact on the 2 countries' relationship.
The friendship between our countries, born out of shared struggle, will not be another casualty of this attack. A free and stable Libya is still in America's interest and security.
There were also violent protests in the Egyptian capital, Cairo, over the film, where demonstrators scaled the walls of the embassy. The protesters, who were mostly Salafist, took down the American flag and put up an Islamic banner in its place. They also directed their anger at the Christian Copts, one of whom lives in the United States and allegedly participated in the film's production.
All Egyptians should take to the street to express their anger, because what happened is not acceptable. This violation by Copts who have emigrated is unacceptable by Egyptians and by all Muslims.
The Egyptian authorities have since secured the American embassy in Cairo. Meanwhile, the Muslim Brotherhood, the most influential political force in the country, has called for demonstrations throughout the weekend.
Authorities in Pakistan say more than 300 people have died in a fire outbreak that engulfed a garment factory in the industrial city of Karachi. Rescue crews rushed to the scene of the accident but were overwhelmed by the inferno, with desperate families hoping to find their loved ones. Pakistan has seen a spate of industrial accidents in recent times, many of them blame on poor safety procedures. We have details in this piece.
A fire gutted this 4-story garment factory in Karachi in Pakistan. Relatives and onlookers were stunned and horrified as dozens of bodies of victims were recovered Wednesday. This is one of Pakistan's worst ever industrial accidents. According to officials, over 300 people were killed.
All the bodies that are being retrieved were inside the factory. The body of my son has not been recovered yet. Where is my Baba? He was my youngest son.
Hundreds of workers were trapped in the fire, which lasted over 15 hours. Dozens of charred bodies were found in the factory basement.
My brother-in-law was trapped in the basement. He and other workers called us all night saying, "Save us." By the morning, there were no more phone calls. We went to the factory, but we could not get any information. When we came, we knew he was dead.
Families have come to the morgue to try to identify the bodies of their relatives. All night long, firefighters tried to reach workers who fled to the roof, but the flames were too high. Dozens of people were forced to jump.
There was no safety measures taken in the design of the building. There was no safety exits, and all the people, they got trapped.
Women and children were amongst the victims. An investigation into the fire has been opened. There are frequent industrial accidents in Pakistan because of poor safety standards. A similar fire broke out in another factory hours earlier in the city of Lahore. The shoe factory blaze was started by a faulty generator, according to officials. Over 20 workers perished in the blaze.
In sports, Britain's Prime Minister has delivered a long-awaited apology over the 1989 Hillsborough football disaster. And in that tragedy, 96 football fans, including children, were crushed to death at the Hillsborough Stadium in Sheffield. And now, 23 years on, an independent panel into the Hillsborough Stadium disaster has released the early findings of the inquiry. The official documents come from the files of 80 organizations, including the British government and police. Families of victims have been calling on the British government to issue an official apology, and Prime Minister David Cameron did just that today. The tragedy at the Hillsborough changed the face of British football. CNN's Alex Thomas takes a look back to April 15th, 1989.
This was English football's darkest day. Men, women and children who had gone simply to cheer their team crushed to death against metal fences and concrete walls.
There were just people lying all over the place in various states of injury. I felt almost very helpless. There was no equipment that I could see that I could use, and it was just a question of really seeing who was either savable or people who could go off in the ambulances. There were other people who were less injured who just had to wait.
Rival fans and police didn't realise what was happening until it was too late. Up to 25,000 Liverpool supporters headed for Sheffield that day. They were directed to the West Stand at the Leppings Lane end of Hillsborough Stadium. The stand was divided into 5 pens, and the 2 middle ones quickly filled up. By 2:30 in the afternoon, half an hour before kick-off, police and stewards lost control of the crowd. At 2:52, with thousands still outside, desperate to get in, police ordered a gate to be opened. With no proper direction, fans could only surge straight into the already dangerously overcrowded middle pens. At 3:06, the match was stopped.
It was absolute chaos. And there were people standing about, but then there were spectators in a panic, you know. They were trying to resuscitate people, trying to help people. People were shouting at me from all different directions, oxygen, needs a doctor, defibrillators, you know, the whole thing. You didn't get a chance to stop and think.
Not only did Hillsborough deeply affect Liverpool Football Club, it forced the sport to change its image. Stadiums were modernised, made safer and more family-friendly. That attracted increased sponsorship and TV money. Alex Thomas, CNN, London.
Well, from that tragic episode in Britain's history, we draw the curtains on this edition of the news. First recap. Former Senegalese Prime Minister Souleymane Ndéné Ndiaye and President Jammeh have been discussing ties between Dakar and Banjul. President Jammeh has relieved Seni Chati of his duties as APRC National Youth Mobilizer and appointed Pierre Minte in his stead. The U.S. ambassador to Libya and 3 other diplomats have died after an attack on the American diplomatic compound in Benghazi, and another inferno at a garment factory in the Pakistani city of Karachi has claimed more than 300 lives. You can follow GRTS Radio Live on our website at www.grts.gm. That's all in this newscast. Thanks for the praise of our company, and do stay tuned to GRTS and enjoy the range of our programs. From me, Famara Fofana, and the rest of the news team. Bye-bye.